I remember, number one, that the Punjabi prison just amused me because of how ridiculous it was. So that disqualified it automatically. So the last show I really remember not really enjoying all that much was Clash of Champions.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
I can guarantee that I'm sure that others who are doing their best and worst of the year lists, I'm sure a lot of people can come up with much more rounded opinions as far as why other shows were better or worse. But as for this one just really stuck out with me, particularly because we just came back from a long chain of unexpectedly good shows. So that this one may or may not have been the objectively worst pay-per-view of the year, but it is the one that really jumps out at me the most. Brian?
This came down to two. It came down to the pay-per-views that have been mentioned already in this list, in
this
everybody else's picks. I'm gonna go with Battleground, mostly because Clash of Champions, I enjoyed 3 of the matches. Whether I liked the finishes to the matches or not, I enjoyed the United States triple threat match, I enjoyed the tag team title match, and I enjoyed Mojo Rawley versus Zack Ryder. I cannot say the same about Battleground. There was only one match that piqued my interest, and it was the Usos versus the New Day. Other than that, the entire show was not memorable. I was fighting off sleep the entire time, and it's not memorable at all.
Like I said, I had to look back and see what the card was.
And it's the one show this year that I gave a clean shave. So basically that's it. Battleground all the way.
There you go. Now, moving on to some more good things. Next category, we've got Women's Wrestler of the Year.
You up?
I'm up. Now, I got to admit, this is one I had a lot of trouble with.
Really?
Yes, I did.
Knowing you, I was actually thinking this is clear as day for you.
Depending on which criteria you're looking at, you could say it can go a number of ways. Once again, Charlotte, Alexa Bliss, they both had really, really good years. Asuka really came into her own. There are a whole bunch of really great ladies who came out just through the Mae Young Classic. I really had a hard time with this, just narrowing it down to one out of a whole handful here. But I'm going to make this sort of my breakout star of the year as far as the females go. And everything considered, I'm going to go with Toni Storm. Mostly because the Mae Young Classic, in all seriousness, really sort of skyrocketed her stock, and like immediately after that tournament was over, she went over to Stardom and won their World of Stardom title. I think that's what it is. Whatever their world championship is, I think it's World of Stardom, and then Wonder of Stardom is like their Intercontinental title. Yeah, basically Toni Storm.
This came down to 2 for me. It was a lot easier than I thought it would be. What put this person over the edge is she was the shining light in the dark abyss that was the Raw Women's Division. Okay, it came down to Asuka and Alexa Bliss for me. The difference being was that the women's division of NXT is pretty good, has been pretty good, and the feud between Asuka and Ember Moon this year was fantastic. What gives Alexa Bliss my pick this year is that in all of the ways that the Raw Women's Division was so bad this year, she was so good. She was the only reason I would stay in front of the TV to watch the women's division of Raw. And that really says something to me. She had the best year because she made that division even slightly good. So Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Bliss is actually my number 2. My number 1 is Asuka. And it's from her. She's had really good matches, and the simple fact that she's still excuse me, she's still undefeated, even breaking Goldberg's undefeated record. That's a big deal.
Oh yeah.
And she's already my pick for the Women's Royal Rumble.
That one's fairly
obvious, I think. As long as somebody else doesn't show up, Asuka's got this all the way.
Asuka's got this, period.
Toni Storm?
Ronda Rousey.
Come on, Jeff.
Who?
Oh, stop it.
If Ronda Rousey shows up, she's winning the Royal Rumble. If not, it's Asuka all the way. Easy.
It's Asuka. All the way for me. On both the Women's Royal Rumble and this one. Not just the Women's Royal Rumble, the Stephanie McMahon presents the Women's Royal Rumble.
God damn it.
Because, they won't shut the hell up about it.
Yeah.
God, that announcement was so bad.
At least we're getting it, so there is something to be said for that. However, that being said, we're going to move on to our penultimate entry here, the need of clear liquid category, which for those uninitiated is basically the worst moments of the year. Something that was just very bad that's just immediately requires the need to just get a big old swig of whatever clear liquid you got and just clear the palate of all that disgusting flavor and just clear your palate, just get out of your system.
So Brian, what's yours?
I just talked so good about Alexa Bliss that it pains me to have to do this.
Just do it, man, because it's mine as well. So I'm going to share this one with you.
Just say it.
This is your life, Bailey.
This was quite possibly one of the worst bit of wrestling television that I've seen all year. Nothing was going to top this. There was seriously nothing that
First
could have done.
First of all, everybody knows Bailey can't act. We're the shit. Okay? Alexa Bliss did everything she possibly could. And this got over like...
No, this is everything Alexa Bliss could have done to destroy Bayley's credibility, and it worked.
It worked.
This killed Bayley's career for me.
It worked because...
And for a lot of people.
Because afterwards, this was to Extreme Rules.
Take his glasses for this.
This was a build-up to Extreme Rules, where the right storytelling would have been Bayley picks up the kendo stick and annihilates the shit out of Alexa Bliss, finally getting that edge and winning the women's title. That is the correct way to make this storyline work.
That is not what happened here.
What actually happened was Bayley was so bad in this segment that the WWE was just like, we're going to have Alexa Bliss make you look like a bitch until the end of time.
When one of Bayley's promos goes, you can't win with hugs, which is ironic because her finishing move is a hug. What credibility do you have? Seriously, though. It's like, this just completely destroyed any credibility.
This was a 25-minute segment that went on about 24 minutes too long.
Her friend, her boyfriend. Oh my god, it was so bad. What was it? Her teacher?
You know what?
Oh my god, I was like, why is this still happening, Alexa? Let the segment die. You can't save it, girl. Go.
In a land,
you're too beautiful for this.
In a year,
what she is.
In a year that had all things Jinder Mahal, it takes a lot to put something else as a need of clear liquid moment. But if anything could do it, this is your life,
This
Bayley.
is water, by the way.
I wish it wasn't.
But you know what?
Now the
you know what the real
water is the more
tragedy?
powerful
You know
clear
what?
liquid.
You know what the real tragedy here is? I actually forgot about that segment. I was just going to rant about Jinder Mahal cutting some horrible, horrible promos again for the third time this show.
Yeah.
But then you just had to remind me of the Bailey "This Is Your Life" segment, and I hate you all.
And that should say
that brought out his need for clear liquid. He had to take off his glasses for this. It hit him so hard. Because you were a Bailey fan, a big Bailey fan, right?
I thought she was good. I wasn't like a huge Bailey fan or anything. I just thought she was solid.
It was during your NXT days, though.
She was good.
She was also going up against Sasha Banks, so that takes all for him.
I do enjoy the Boss, but yeah.
The hell with the Boss.
She's
a bitch.
And that's why it works. But anyway,
no, not just character-wise. I mean, she actually is a legit bitch.
I know.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I know, but again, we can.
He knows and he doesn't care. Moving on.
Yes.
Overhyped. She is way overrated.
Hey, again, I know we could go on and on about this for some time, but we need to talk about some more good things, and especially the final category of the evening. The You're Welcome Award, which is the complete opposite of what we were just talking about. This was just an amazing, amazing moment that we will remember. Maybe it's not necessarily a match, a segment, just a moment that we will remember from the year that was 2017. Now, it's Maya?
No, it's me.
There you go. Okay. Take us home. Give us something good.
For me, it was the segment that made me cry. The segment that made me look back at my entire wrestling fandom and just think what got me here in the first place, and that was The Undertaker. And seeing him walk off at WrestleMania and disappearing into that fog. You were there. I was trying so hard to hold back those tears. I couldn't. I was thinking this may be the last time I see Undertaker wrestling, possibly. And it was the real end of an era, at least for right now. And just looking back on just how much the Undertaker has impacted my life, and just seeing him finally leave. Yeah, it made me so happy to be a wrestling fan. It made me so happy of where I am, wrestling fandom wise in my life, that I could that's number one. From WrestleMania on, there was nothing that was going to top that. That was like the peak of my wrestling fandom, just because it was The Undertaker that made me a wrestling fan in the first place. My first showing of wrestling ever, 1990, which I saw the debut of The Undertaker, and that was my solid moment that I was going to be a wrestling fan for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to top that. However, I feel like me personally as a wrestling fan, I've already gotten that since we already did the whole retirement thing with Mick Foley. And when he actually did retire, it was very quiet. It wasn't public. So for me, I already saw my favorite wrestler retire. That I can see that being on a whole heck of a lot of people's best moments of the year list. It's certainly up there for me, but for me, when I think of the best moments of the year, that moment again, I was fighting back some tears just too. Not nearly as many as you were, but I still got the feels. But when I think of best moments of the year, that one was to me registered more as bittersweet than anything else. About the old gunslinger, going out, riding off in the sunset with his head held high. When I think of best moments of the year, I think of something a lot more upbeat, something a lot more hopeful for the future, something optimistic. I came very close to looking at Woken Matt Hardy. And yes.
I have been woken.
That was great to see, but ultimately I feel like it came a little bit too late. I'm glad they're doing it, don't get me wrong. It's an honorable